Hello, everybody. Welcome to the When in Doubt podcast. Hello, guys. Welcome into the first episode of the podcast. Glad you all are listening in. I am Hayden. Over here on my left, your right.
Off to a bad start.
Off to a rough start. And I'm a senior in high school right now. We're all from Wisconsin boys. Love to see it. And what is exciting about me? I'm kind of the mutual friend of the group. There's actually supposed to be 6 of us. That's also one thing we should mention off the start. Yeah. One of us, Jack, is just dude's away from keyboard constantly. He's AFK constantly. He's constantly AFK. We don't know what up was with that dude. And the other one lives in Florida now, so he's got a little bit of a commute. But he'll just a bit.
He's on his way.
He's on his way. No, but hopefully he's going to be calling into some of the episodes of the podcast. Pretty normally he'll be on the podcast. And actually, it's around Christmas time, as you can see our great decorations around the podcast. If you're listening or if you're watching the podcast, but we got a Christmas tree. It's looking great. But he'll be coming in during the Christmas time, so hopefully we'll get some podcasts with him live, too. We'll get all 6 of the boys. But right now we only got 4 of us, so I'm Hayden, and I should probably be your favorite member of the podcast.
Ooh. Well, I'm Noah. That is not how you end an introduction. I'm Noah. I am the youngest of the group. I am only 16. I just got my license like 2 days ago. That's very exciting. I've only gotten like 5 tickets, so we're all right.
Dude,
wonder why he was late today.
You got the GTA 6 release early.
Yep. I'm playing in advance. We'll say that.
Yep. Okay.
Nice. All right. My name's Gavin. I'm the oldest, I think. Yeah. I'm a freshman in college.
Ooh,
that's crazy.
Yes.
You think he's cool?
I still can't believe that you're in college.
And I know it's crazy.
College guy.
I don't got
college kid.
I'm just the college
crazy.
guy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's me.
All right, I'm Matt. I'm a senior in high school with Hayden.
Oh, he almost said it. He almost gave a spoiler. All right.
Yeah, I guess. I've met these two through Hayden because me and Hayden used to be neighbors.
I think we've all met everybody here through Hayden.
Yeah, so Hayden said he's kind of the mutual friend. I guess he brought us all together.
I did robotics with Gavin.
Yeah, we all know each other. Yeah. We all know each other in like some weird way, and we all have connections. Gavin and Matthew played on the same baseball team. Noah was going to play on the same baseball team as us, but then we got COVIDed.
Can we canceled? I don't think we can say that.
No, but we all know each other, and Jack, I played baseball. We all played baseball with him, me and Matthew and Gavin did, but then I also know him through homeschooling stuff because I used to be homeschooled. Same with Gavin and Noah, but now me and Matthew go to the same high school. It's just a weird web and how we all know each other.
Yeah, I met you through baseball?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Which is crazy because that was so long. I mean, Matthew I've known my entire life. We were born together. And then Noah, how did I even meet you?
That's what I was saying before. You just had appeared.
I spawned in.
You appeared one day.
I'm actually a Minecraft villager. I spawned in. I trade emeralds. All right. So I think the first topic we gotta hit on today is the fact that the thing that I think brought us together all closest as friends.
Absolutely.
This summer, I genuinely gotta say it's
it brought us to the center of the web.
Yeah,
yes, it did.
It literally did. We were all on the edge of this web, and then we all just finally met up and made it happen, and then we've just been the boys ever since.
Yeah, because it made it out the group chat.
That's facts. That's facts. We finally made the group trip, made it out of the group chat. Yep. We've all. No doubt, we've all had ideas to go on a trip with our friends.
Oh yeah, plenty of times.
Plenty of times we've been we got to go do a road trip or something, and it never happened.
This podcast made it out the group chat too.
Yeah,
we make it out of the group chat.
All right.
So we made the trip. We made this boys' summer trip. It was pretty amazing. I'm not gonna lie. It was generally one of the most fun weeks of my life. We all went to this cabin, Airbnb, way up north. We stayed on a lake. We had canoes, kayaks. There was islands on the lake. It genuinely was the best ever, and it was all 6 of us, including Jack and Liam, who aren't here. Bum. No. But it was all 6 of us. Surprisingly, everybody made it, and it was it was genuinely.
It was amazing.
It was.
Oh yeah, the location was perfect. We won't disclose that, but it was.
we won't disclose that information.
At the time of the year, I think August.
Yeah. No, it was July.
July.
End of July.
Yeah.
Perfect weather. The water was perfect.
Oh yeah. It was. It was hot enough where it's you want to get in, where it's like not like, oh crap, I don't want to get in, it's too cold, but it was also like refreshing. It was
actually
absolutely
quite amazing. I talked about it for I still talk about how nice the water
Yeah.
is, because I've never been in like that temperature of water where it's like you want to get in, but when you get out, you aren't even freezing.
Yeah, that's literally how
perfect.
it was. It was
I don't know
perfect
if it
weather.
was just the way the weather aligned that time of the year, but it was good, and it was a great getaway because you disconnect from your phones.
Yeah, it was so nice. I mean, like we were all together, and also the truth of the matter is, and the truth of the matter is, for most of us, the people we talk to most are all of us. So it's like we don't even need our phones at that point because it's like
I ain't talking to anybody else. Like,
we have
just you guys.
And Jack barely even responds to the group chat.
Jack barely responds to the group chat anyway.
Neither do I.
So neither do you. So I don't know what you're talking. Yeah.
Earlier this week, but.
So it's just like it was just perfect because it was like we were all together, so we didn't need to do anything. We were just able to just get in some good Farmopoly with the boys.
Yes,
that was so terrible.
It was that was
got a little heated and competitive at times.
Yeah, it got a little heated, but when you're playing Farmopoly with the boys, it's gonna get heated. You got to deal with that. It's gonna get
cutting
heated.
all these black market trades and
The
deals. Like it was
black market
crazy.
trades were crazy. We literally have an entire notes. We had to make a note sheet on iMessages because of just the amount of black market trades. We're like, dude, I will let you have the last Arnold Palmer can in the fridge if you give me those property. It was.
It was like that note sheet we transformed it into the podcast.
The second one, the Farmopoly. We've obviously we've been trying to get together. Besides just obviously since the trip, so we've been doing stuff. And Noah, big brain man over here, came up with the idea dude, we should start a podcast. It would be funny. And we were all like, yeah, it's a great idea. And we literally thought of it while we were playing Monopoly. So, Noah put it
We've
on.
had a lot of inspiration playing Monopoly games.
I'm telling you, it's
we had the most random stuff. We're just like, yes, we need to do that.
We need to.
And it works.
Yeah, it does. I'm telling you. It's when sometimes when you're in the shower and you always have the best ideas in the shower. For
That's
us,
so true.
it's when
It's
you're
when
playing
we're playing
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
When you're playing Monopoly, you might be screaming at each other, but you're also coming up with the best ideas.
Absolutely.
That's just the truth of the matter.
Oh yeah.
So one thing I think we need to talk about on this trip is a story. So I think we will tell more stories, but
Absolutely.
what in a specific
There's one that
episode,
sticks out, and we're gonna ask Gavin to tell that one.
Yeah, this story. So this is a fun story. It all started when
Let's
we
keep
went
this
up north.
light here.
Yeah, we're keeping this light.
The mild
as
version.
funny as possible.
You guys
but-
get the PG-13.
Matthew's just
You know this is bad.
Starting with this. This is not in the notes, man.
Just throwing me on the spot.
We are starting off strong.
Okay, I'll simplify. Make this a really short, simple story. Long story short, there's a lot of people on social media who'll try to scam you for money, right? And I stumbled upon one of those people while trying to connect with people at my new college. Whoa!
As we said,
at my new college, because I'm getting into new college, I need to meet some people.
As we said before, we have no friends.
Exactly. So I'm trying to connect with these people.
Yeah.
And one of these people was an internet scammer. I didn't know it at the time.
But he said
And-
Snapchat.
Yeah, so we're just snapping. And
That was a dummy.
yeah, that was
In
the first dumb
Gavin's
move.
defense, though, he was a beautiful girl.
Yep, until he was black.
It was some just random dude from where was he even from?
Nigeria.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was from
So
Nigeria.
this man keeps me up till 3 a.m. one night, telling me if I leave the chat, he's gonna
Do some bad
he's
stuff.
he's gonna make people think I'm a horrible person, basically.
He's
So-
gonna send some stuff to your Instagram followers that is not right in any way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the next morning, we go on a trip to this very awesome video game shop. It's amazing.
yeah.
They
It
have
was
VR
amazing.
headsets,
Yep.
every Xbox, every
Speaking of
console.
disconnecting.
Speaking of disconnecting, on the trip we specifically drove an hour to go to a
Exactly.
gaming place, but
we had
did
to
disconnect.
But it was insane. What a great deal. But
yeah.
so on this drive, hour-long drive, I was like, okay, boys, we have a situation. And then we all talked about it. We came up with a whole
By the
game
way,
plan.
this is the first time he told any of us about this.
yeah.
This was 2 days in, and he's like, "All right, guys, I gotta make a confession."
I was trying to decide what to do. And then
Oh my gosh. We were on this boys trip and I'm thinking in my head everything's perfect. Nothing's wrong. Nothing can mess this trip up.
The whole time I'm
and
just
then
sweating.
Gavin's sitting over here.
The
Yes.
whole time on the guys trip, Gavin's just sweating balls.
I remember we were driving to the video game place, or if we were, I can't remember if we
Yeah.
were going to that Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, we were going to-
driving or something, and there's a cat on the side of the street, and we're like, let's go get the cat. And everybody gets out of the car besides Gavin.
I was driving.
No, bro was tripping, bro.
You can imagine how amazing that looked with 5 white teenagers get out of a minivan on the side of the road.
Yeah, it was literally an old minivan.
Yeah. So okay, continue story. Continue story.
Okay, so we talked this whole game plan, like, okay, we got this guy, we're gonna get him good. So we pull all these different tricks on him, like, oh yeah,
okay.
we can
Also,
get you arrested.
something we need to note about this story is how good at stalking people.
He is.
Okay, like dude is
Absolutely.
a detective.
He found dirt on
Yeah,
that scammer.
like dude,
He
he
did.
literally.
Yeah.
So we're like, we need to
Within
find.
minutes,
Yes.
he found somebody related to him, and then he linked that to the exact person, and we found
We found
like
literally
what
everything.
he does is his job, where he lives, who his
Exactly.
wife is.
Yeah,
all from a
this
fake Snapchat
Yeah.
account.
It was a
So
yeah.
we're like, we need some
I don't know how
tea on this
Jack
guy.
knows how to do that.
Yeah,
I
just-
don't want to know.
yeah.
He literally,
I don't
he
think
just goes
anybody
full
wants to
Sherlock Holmes on this guy. We find out so much about him, and then we're like, do you really want to do this? And he backed off.
Yeah.
Long story short,
Long
we
story
won.
short, there is a lot
The
more to that
boys.
story. Maybe on the nighttime episode,
Yeah.
13.
The
One
black
and down at
market
night.
episodes.
You will find out maybe sometime later, but that was pretty funny because
It was
it's just
very-
like
yeah.
it's just like everything seemed so perfect, and then behind the scenes we didn't even know it. But for the first
Yeah.
2 days of the trip, Gavin is just sweating,
Yeah,
dude.
he woke up the next day after it happened. And he just looked tired.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm so
Bro,
tired. I was up
And
till
I
3
knew we were
o'clock.
all tired, but
Yeah.
I was like, something's up with Gavin.
Something's up with Gavin.
I was like,
Yeah, there was
I'll
something
let
up
it
with
be.
you.
And then in the car, he was like, all right, guys.
Yeah, and it was also so funny because like we're all listening to music, and then like Gavin's like,
I just like turned
"Guys,"
off the music.
yeah,
I was like, okay, guys.
Gavin's like, guys, I'm sorry to tell you, we all think the first thing I think in my head, like, oh, dude, Gavin got a girlfriend. Like, dude, mind blowing. What's going on? Like,
Nope, I got a Nigerian boyfriend.
not a girlfriend. He's got a Nigerian boyfriend. Yeah, he turns on the music and
Little
brings
bit
the
different.
news to us, and I'm like, oh gosh, Gavin,
Yeah.
you're in a bit of a pickle
Yeah,
here.
I was
so.
in deep water, but we got out of that water.
Next thing I think we got to mention is how just like kind of talking about how you were talking about how time like the trip was like time wise, water wise. Something I think was a definite highlight, probably the highlight for me, was just the island. And
Oh
like
my
so
God.
we were on a lake.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say specific location, like I said, I almost just did. But
It was a lake
We're
in
gonna-
Wisconsin.
we're gonna
Spoiler.
gatekeep that location.
we're gonna
We kinda
gatekeep
want
that location. That is our cabin.
Yeah,
We're
we're,
going
we're
back
taking it
next year.
every year, guys.
Yeah.
It's not yours.
Yeah, it's not your trip. We booking it every
We could
year.
give them a fake location, and
Fake
then they'll like
location.
try to book it out.
Yeah, and then we're like, not screw you.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
we literally, I'm just like, there was a bunch of islands, and there was this one main island, and it had like a rope swing on it, it had like a campfire set up and everything. And something that I think we're mutually, all of us agree, is that, you know, we all love sports, and we're all pretty athletic. And we will talk about that shortly
We're all
coming
pretty
up.
athletic. Humble brag.
Yeah, they call me Mr. Humble, actually. No, but I think we all have that in common. Like whether no matter the sport, we've all either been on the same sports team, playing different sports at a high level. Like
Yeah.
we all have that passion, and so you know, no matter what it is, no matter if it's something like a real like game or if it's something like spike ball or something, you know, something smaller like that, we still want to have a fun time and be competitive with it and you know do it. And so something we got to do at the trip, which was just awesome, was we all love playing spike ball. So we literally had like canoes, kayaks, boats. And we all would go out to this island and we'd set up the spike ball net around the campfire. Maybe if you're watching the video podcast, I'll throw up a video of a picture of it. But we put we put the spike ball net around the fire and we all played
We put it
spike ball.
over the campfire.
Yeah.
So
and then we
that is
lit the campfire so that the ball was on fire. as
I
we played.
forgot about that.
No, but
No.
it was like legit like magical just because I was like, dude, like the sun was setting like perfectly like
Oh,
right over.
perfect view.
It was like
It was
I mean,
amazing.
I'll
It was
throw
so
some
amazing.
pictures up if you're watching the video podcast, but it is a perfect like the
Yeah.
pictures, the videos.
It was
I mean,
amazing.
It was just so sick. Except one more story I think we need to touch
Yes.
on is the fact that was that you who left us
That
on
was
the
me and
island?
Jack.
Yeah, that was you and Jack. Yeah.
So the kicker is we're going to this island, right? And we're taking like spike ball, we're taking drinks, snacks, everything. So we have to put it all on a canoe.
and kayak.
And
yeah.
it's
And
it's
kayak.
pretty
So-
decently
so
far.
we
It
had-
would take like
we had-
5 minutes to get there
Yeah.
on our
Yeah.
kayaks and
At
canoes.
We
least,
had
yeah.
4 in a canoe,
Yep.
and then 1 in each kayak. So
Yeah.
it was 6 in
We
a
were
Yes.
very close to sinking that canoe. I'm not even gonna lie,
No,
guys.
Yeah, it
the
was
canoe,
close.
The canoe was here and the water was here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there was an inch separating the water and the top of the
An
canoe.
inch
Because there was
Two,
a
yeah.
lot of heavy guys. In okay, we're not big, we're not heavy, but like
Four
four
big guys.
4 guys ends up being heavy, and all the stuff. But
Yeah.
so then we have 1 canoe, 2 small kayaks, and me and Jack, who of course is not here. We're like,
he's not here.
we should just take the canoe and leave, and make them bring everything back on 2 kayaks.
So,
Yeah.
So-
they leave us with 2 kayaks and 4 people in 2 kayaks.
And we have spike ball nets and drinks and waters and,
And
we literally have enough stuff to spend the night there. And we have to bring it with 4 people on 2 kayaks.
And
the 1-seater kayaks, like
Yeah.
they're small.
They're
in case,
one-seat
yeah,
kayaks.
That's oh my god. It's
And
so.
Gavin
yeah.
and Jack just bolt off, and all four of us standing on the island. And they're like, "See you guys!" And they're just gone, and we just could not see them. We're
Though
like,
in Jack's defense, he had to poop really
Yeah,
badly.
so we were gonna come back after a little while, but then he was in the bathroom for much
He
longer.
at least had a reason.
yeah,
And the
Well, it
sun
wasn't a
was,
good
like,
reason.
Setting.
Yeah,
And
and
we're, us, me, Noah, Hayden, and Liam
Yeah.
are on the island. Like, all right, game plan. What do we got?
literally, it's like the sun is. We're like, bro, the sun is going down. We're not in Minecraft. We don't have torches. Like
They're gonna keep spawning on us.
Yeah, literally.
It's gonna get dark.
Yeah.
And
We're
I'll be
like-
honest, I don't know if I'll be able to spot the cabin.
Yeah,
If it's dark
yeah,
out.
because it was like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
also it was like only like our second day there, I think, when you did
Yeah.
this. So it's like we
Yeah, I
didn't
was
even, like,
at the start.
Yeah, it was right at the start. So we didn't even like know like where exactly the cabin was. So then I think the best part of the story is Liam really had to stick up his butt then throughout the trip, and he really wanted to get. I mean, everybody did who got stuck wanted to get Gavin and Jack back. So we the entire time we're planning every night like, oh, what's gonna work.
And-
So
yeah.
on the last day, it was the last day. We purposely, us four, once again, were on the canoe, and we pulled up to the
Something
island.
else you can notice, this was probably the second most detective work we did on this trip.
Yes.
Snooping around and talking to everyone except Gavin
Yeah,
and Jack
it was
about when we were going to do it, what the signal was going to be, when to come.
You guys
when
had
to commit.
signals?
We had a signal.
What?
We're like, oh,
No, that's crazy.
yeah, we were
Y'all were
we were
scheming.
so prepared, and we were scheming behind your back so hard, and we set it all up. So we like purposely got there a little early in the canoe on the last day. It was the last day. We were on the island, like. And we pull up, and we purposely, like, instead of, like, tying the canoe off like we normally did,
We left it
just-
with one knot, so it
wasn't it
stayed
the
there. But we,
rowboat?
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
the
yeah. It
rowboat.
was the. I
Yeah.
think it was the rowboat,
I
actually.
think we
at the
took
time.
the rowboat and the canoe.
Yeah, and
And-
so, yeah, that
well,
was
because
it.
we had originally left them with the rowboat, so we tried to do this one time, but they got back.
Yeah.
Like, they got back super quick, and it wasn't a problem. So that didn't count, and we had to do it again.
Yes, correct. So what we did, is we brought the rowboat and the canoe, and we had one kayak. So what we did is we purposely got there a little bit early before them, like we bolted off, and we got there with the canoe and the rowboat, and we purposely, instead of like tying them off like we normally did, we just like left them in like very loose knots, like basically just wrapped around a tree.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Just so that we could quickly
like
undo them.
Like
and
military
get out.
style.
Oh,
just-
yeah.
And I remember they were
Booked it.
everybody was like down this one trail sitting on like the little beach
Yep.
by the rope
Yep.
swing, looking at the sunset.
Yep.
And then, I
Oh yeah, I
remember-
mean, so like
yeah, and then
we're sitting right here, and then there's like trees covering all the boats over
Yeah.
here.
And then
so
we're,
then
like,
we
in a
give the
certain part.
signal right here, and four of us just bolt.
Yeah, and Gavin and Jack are sitting
We're
on
just
the
like
far
sitting
side.
admiring the sunset. We're like, do you hear that water splashing?
Yeah.
And then we turn around and they're just gone. Like,
Yeah, I remember I literally was like pushing the canoe.
Yeah,
out,
pushing
There
launching
was
it, and then
that
I
was
jumped
might
in
have been
that
the
rowboat.
greatest sound I've ever heard. Was us like the canoe hitting the bottom of the
Yeah.
water
Yeah.
as we push it
As
out.
we push it. It was
Oh
totally like
my
one of those like
God.
war movies where you see people like go like running onto the
It
island.
literally
and, like-
was.
and we're like, go, 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 and we're like sprinting
whole
out, pushing
operation.
whole operation.
was
We had it all
amazing.
set, and we're all like sprinting, jumping.
and
into
that was
the-
like the sun was like setting.
Yes,
That
it
was
was
late
very-
because we were like sitting there like watching the sun go down.
Yeah, and the sun was like almost that, and then Jack, Gavin are like, man, what is that rowboats? And then they come out and walk out, and we are already halfway to the house. I
They
mean,
were
we
fast.
were gone.
We had
And they're
no
like,
shot.
dude, and so we left them with all the stuff. So they had two people with one small one person
one kayak and everything.
and everything on the island. So we made them come back, and they made it. And on the way back, there were a lot of words that cannot be said.
Wasn't
on
it?
this
Didn't it start
podcast.
raining?
What?
Didn't it
Yeah,
start
and
raining?
then it started
And then it was raining while we were coming back.
In your defense, it was like the most beautiful movie-esque rain you've ever
Yeah,
seen.
true.
was.
It wasn't
so
like
amazing.
It wasn't like a lightning storm. It was like the type of rain where you wanted to jump in the lake, but we weren't sure if we should. Because
You guys did jump in. You guys
Yeah.
were like, yeah, let's get.
yeah, because it was so nice out. So,
It would have been funny if we're like, yeah, and Jack didn't make it. Like, only Gavin made it back.
and that is why
That's why Jack's
is-
not here today. He's still on the island.
He's sunk to the bottom.
well, he's
with
not on the
kayak.
island anymore.
Yeah, so he's playing Survivor permanently. But that was, I mean, there are more stories to tell, and maybe we'll get into those in another podcast. But I think we got to transition to the next topic, which I think is good because it's kind of relevant right now. And I mean,
Sports
I'm
and
into it,
everything.
and it's sports, and it's kind of talking about, you know, how I was mentioning that we all love sports. It's the college football playoffs. I watch I don't watch a bunch of college football, but I do keep up with it. And Matthew over here is a Michigan fan,
Oh,
huge
yeah.
Michigan.
Wait, you're a
fan.
Michigan fan?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I didn't even
What?
know that.
I'm a diehard Michigan
Yes.
fan.
Well,
so
did you know I'm an Alabama fan?
Well, yeah.
For anybody that doesn't know, the top 4 teams, college football playoffs, make it to the playoffs to compete for the overall championship. So Michigan is the number 1 playing number 4 Alabama, right? And then number 2, Washington
Yeah.
is
Number 3.
playing number 3 Texas. So it'll be very exciting.
it's a little special this year because there is a ton of controversy.
Oh,
about
absolutely.
Oh
about
my
who
God.
made it. And
About who made it, but also not even all who made it. It was just like coach. I mean, just overall in college football, there was just a lot of controversy this year with like the Colorado team as well.
Yep.
And like Coach Prime just getting so much publicity.
Oh yeah,
and
it was
then,
an interesting season.
yeah,
for sure.
there was a lot of stuff that like happened in this season that was very different from any other season of college football. And I think that's.
Yeah.
I mean,
there were so many undefeated teams that didn't make the
Yeah,
playoffs. Like
we're-
I believe, isn't Michigan the only team in the playoffs that is undefeated?
Washington is undefeated.
Washington-
Yeah, they are
Yeah,
undefeated.
they're-
Yep.
undefeated.
They had a close call with Washington State.
yeah,
which was,
and
they
also-
won by a last-second field goal.
Yeah.
Washington State is 5-6
Yeah, well-
5-6 or 6-5. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
and
at the time.
and for Alabama, they almost lost to Ole Miss, right? Or
Yeah.
was that
They almost lost to Auburn.
Auburn? That's what I meant. Yeah, that's Auburn.
They won by miracle on
Yeah,
a fourth and
on a fourth and- yeah,
4th and
yards.
38, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fourth and 38.
38.
He's right, and it was like a last-second touchdown to the corner. That's the only reason they beat Auburn. And like,
Mm-hmm.
if that game would have lost, this whole playoff would have been different.
I know.
Georgia would have been in. I bet you they probably wouldn't have lost then.
Yeah.
Alabama not having that momentum.
Yeah.
So Georgia would have been number 1. Michigan would have been number 2, and it would have completely changed everything else.
Oh yeah, and okay, so the problem is that Alabama beat Georgia.
Yes,
that
that is- yeah.
screwed up
Everything.
everything.
Yeah,
and
for
also, if Alabama, let's just say Alabama lost to Auburn,
Yep.
and then they lose to Georgia, and then Alabama beats Georgia.
Yeah.
I think Georgia, they lose to a team that has 2 losses and a loss to Auburn, which was a
Yeah.
6-5 team.
Yeah.
There's maybe an argument for Georgia to get in.
Yeah.
But I don't think Georgia's making it in that situation, and I don't think Alabama's
Yeah,
making it
but
if
see
they
the
lose to Auburn.
See, that's
Yeah.
the thing though. That's the problem because I think I literally looked this up last night. There has never been since the 14 playoffs started. There has never been a year that an SEC team has not been. There's not been a single SEC team in the playoff, and that would make it so that there is not a single SEC team in this playoff. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I mean, there would be not
First
be a
time
single
ever,
one,
'cause
and that would be the first time ever because Alabama and Georgia lose out. And as much as people like to say, like the committee tries to choose like what's best, college football, they're trying to make money.
It
And that's
feels
just
like
the
it's
fact.
rigged.
Yeah, and I mean,
Like
it's
so,
not,
like the
but,
Pac-12, almost every team has left it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I mean,
Pac-12 's pretty much
UCLA
gonna be
and
gone next
USC
year.
are now in the Big Ten, which
Yep.
is already has like 16 teams.
It's
Big-
more than 10.
the Big
Yeah.
20.
They got to change the name, maybe. Yeah, but if Alabama loses to Auburn and Georgia loses to Alabama, it's Michigan, Washington, Texas, and FSU's in.
Yeah,
And
that's
everybody
the-
would be
yes.
happy.
Florida
Yeah.
State is they might have been the biggest
They-
controversy.
the
this
biggest
year.
screw
They
over,
went
like-
undefeated,
Yes.
and they were the number 5, and they were 1 spot short of making the
Yeah,
playoffs.
it's tough for FSU, but you gotta, the problem is an undefeated team, in theory, is deserving
Yes.
to go to the
yeah,
playoffs.
but it's not about who's deserving. It's about who are the best teams
Yes.
at the end
Yeah.
of the
Who
season.
are the best teams, and so, a lot of people complain that the committee was using, like, FSU, Florida State lost their quarterback Jordan Travis,
Yep.
Yeah.
and then the committee kind of used that as a reason.
Yeah,
But there is some substance to that reasoning.
It does
because-
kind of make sense, but if they still go undefeated and win
It's
their
just-
last game,
it's so
that shouldn't change anything.
it's so hard. It's because like yes, you're so right. Like Jordan Travis being out is a huge change. I mean, like that's a huge change for any football. If you're losing your starting quarterback, that changes the entire team dynamic. That can take a very
Especially
good team.
because after they lost Jordan Travis, they struggled against the
Yeah,
Gators
yep.
and Louisville.
Yeah, they very close
Yeah,
games
two
against
very close games.
two very close games against two mid teams.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's really hard for the community to be like, oh, we still want these guys in when they're struggling against mid teams. And also, like you don't want to bring this up, but last year the national championship wasn't it? It was Georgia TCU.
Georgia and TCU.
Yep.
And TCU just got absolutely
horrible.
murked.
It was
I mean,
terrible.
Worst national championship
it was,
performance
and
ever.
I'm not trying. TCU was quotes deserving, but that's like the situation where it's like their schedule, the strength of their schedule was not enough. Like they were there because they beat Michigan. Yes, that is true, and Michigan was a very good team I think last year.
Yep.
I think Michigan's
And-
problem was they were
yeah,
looking ahead
yes,
to the
and I
next
agree,
game.
and I
'cause
100% agree.
They thought TCU isn't it.
Yeah.
They had a weak
Yes,
schedule.
I agree.
They barely held their undefeated
Yeah.
spot. I can't remember who it was that they won by a last second field goal.
Yeah.
to-
So-
but Michigan was looking ahead to the
Yeah,
next game.
I agree. I think Michigan was already like checking it off, like, oh, we're gonna beat TCU. It's gonna be us versus Georgia. We need to beat Georgia, and they didn't even think about it, and that's why TCU won. And that's really, I think. I mean, I don't want to say too much because I don't have the stats on that TCU like team last year, but I don't know how many other big wins they had that year besides Michigan, besides the fact that they wanted to see it. I'm sure they played some other good teams and got some wins.
Michigan was definitely the best team that they played.
Yes, and Michigan was definitely the best team that they played, and they beat them, which is great. But that is really the biggest win they had all year. And I think it was really the only win that really showed that they had anything substantive to make it to the playoffs.
I
and
think
they
it got to their heads a little bit.
Yeah,
too,
and it totally got to their heads. And then
Championship.
Georgia just slaughtered them. And I think this year, with FSU losing their lead quarterback, I think the committee in their head is thinking, dude, we cannot have another FSU. Because
you can't have that 2 years in a row.
You can't have that 2 years in a row. Because what happens when FSU goes in and some miracle happens and Michigan once again is looking past FSU and FSU wins by a last-second field goal, and then another team comes in, Texas or you watch it, whatever, and just blows it out of the water, and it's not even fun to watch.
And even let's say Michigan blows out FSU if they. I mean, you saw Michigan. You can see their live reaction to the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
When they saw they playing Alabama,
they were not happy about it. They were like, oh,
gulping,
they were like, oh, great.
Yeah. And like, who would Michigan rather play?
Yeah.
Between Alabama and Florida State.
As
a Michigan fan, I'd rather play Florida State.
Yeah, and that is a great way to put it because I think there's so like the one thing that when I originally heard that happened, I was like, dang, FSU should have got it. They deserved it. And then I was scrolling on Instagram and I see that video of Michigan's reaction to playing Alabama instead of FSU. And right when I saw that, I was like, never mind, they made the right choice. Because when Michigan goes, oh crap, when they see Alabama pop up, that knows they made the right decision because they wanted that FSU team without their quarterback.
I'll be honest, I don't think Michigan is scared of the players that Alabama has.
Yeah.
I'm scared of Nick Saban. I think Michigan is scared of Nick Saban. Because Nick Saban, there's this 4-week period of just practice before the playoff games.
Yeah, things he can do is just crazy.
Nick Saban in playoff postseason time is a phenomenal coach.
Yeah.
Unreal.
He's done it time after time after time,
Yeah.
So
I 100% agree. And I think something else that I just wanted to note and mention on as we kind of wrap up this topic is just the fact of the matter is that I think college football has become such a money game. It's just so hard. Okay, let's say you are a top 5 in the nation recruit as a quarterback. There is no way you're not going to Alabama, Georgia. You're going to
pick the school that probably gives you the most money.
That's exactly what I was going to say because there is schools there's other schools that are very solid. They're solid teams. Schools even Penn State. I mean, these not all same teams aren't on the same level, but I'm saying there's teams that are right out of those top 5 teams that are very, very good teams and could compete for national championships if they have a good season. But the problem is when Alabama's offering you 2 extra zeros on the end of your paycheck and you're an 18-year-old kid, or a 20-year-old kid, when you see those 2 extra zeros 100%. And it's I'm going to where it's warm. I'm going to hang out with Nick Saban with 2 extra zeros on my paycheck. Yeah. And I think that's almost a problem with college football. I don't know. The NIL deal, there's a lot going on there. But, something I feel is, it's the talent is so concentrated. And, yes, it does make it exciting for those teams. But it just makes it so that I feel yes, the 12-team playoff is a good thing. And I 100% think it is a great thing. It should happen.
Finally, last year. This is the last year. 4 teams in the playoffs. Next year, 12 teams, finally.
But I think, I'm going to be honest, I think what's going to happen, I think 12-team playoff will be great. I think there will be an upset here or there. But honestly, I don't see a world in which a top 4 team doesn't win the national championship again. Because I think if you're going down to those 12 teams, I think the quality of players at those top schools is so much higher than even the 10th best team in the nation because of the amount of money they have to give to their players. Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm not even putting anything against the coaches. It's sometimes the fact that it's just the extra money. I mean, even if the coach isn't the best, I'm not saying they're not because Nick Saban's one of the greatest college coaches of all time, but let's say even he wasn't. Let's say he wasn't a great coach, but they just win because they have so much money to give to players to come to their college. Yeah. And I think it's just tough to compete with other smaller schools where it's they want to get good, but they don't have any money to spend on players. They can't compete with those big schools.
Yeah. Something else to know that in the 12-team playoffs, the top 4 teams, which would normally just be making the playoffs and playing against each other, they all get first-round byes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then it's just the other 8 teams playing against each other to play these top 4 teams, which likely
I think is how it should be.
Yeah, I agree.
Which all of this controversy is just reasons for a bigger playoff.
Yeah, I agree.
It's 100%. And the other thing is, how legit is Texas?
Yeah.
Because Texas, they're 11. No.
I'm gonna be
I
honest.
can't. I think Texas is
I
11
feel
and
like they
1 or
have
10.
one
They have
loss.
one loss.
Yeah.
I know they have one loss.
They
They
do.
lost to Oklahoma.
Yep.
And Oklahoma's not a bad
Stat
team.
sheets coming in.
Yeah, Oklahoma's 10-2. They have 2 losses. They lost by, then they were close margin losses. They lost by 5 to Kansas and a 3 by Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma's fairly legit because they're a 10-2 team.
Yeah.
But Texas has a loss to, well, Oklahoma's number 12. So Texas has a loss to a ranked number 12 team. And then they beat 3 unranked teams by a touchdown, by 3 points, and by 3 points.
Yeah.
That's not very solid.
And I'm gonna be
And
honest.
so I think there is an argument for,
This is-
like Texas isn't
Yeah,
legit.
this is a hot.
And we'll
take.
find
This-
out.
Yeah,
when
this
they
is.
play
I mean, this
Washington.
And we haven't even mentioned Georgia either. Like then they lost their last game.
That's what I was gonna say. This is,
and then they did.
this is
They're the
honestly-
6th seed, not even the 5. They're
Honestly,
the 6.
if I'm gonna be honest with you, if Alabama didn't make it, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even think FSU should have been the team in. I think it should have been Georgia. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Georgia is not as good of a team as they were last year. I think that's true. I think that's a fact. I don't think they are as good as they were last year. But they were undefeated and only lost to Alabama, who was coming off like some strong wins and like some serious confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And like if that would have gone the other way, Georgia's the number 1 seed in the playoffs. The entire they would have been the number 1 team overall in the entire playoff, and instead they didn't even make the playoffs. They're the 6th team. They're not even the 5th team.
Yeah.
So it is just I think it's just so tough because the playoff is so small, where you're taking out these teams that legit could have very easily been literally the top team in the entire playoffs, and all of a sudden they're not even getting a chance to compete.
Yep.
Like for the national championship. And that's why, I mean, this is all, I agree with you, Matthew, 100%. This is all just trying to get a bigger playoff. It should have been this year. It should have been last year. It should have been way more.
It never should have been 4 teams in the beginning.
It never should have been 2 teams. It
And
never should have been 4
originally
teams.
was
I
they
know.
picked two teams for the national
It should
championship.
never have been 2
That's
teams. It should never have been 4 teams.
But then
It
there
always
was
should be.
other teams that were starting to get screwed.
Yep.
And so then they went to 4.
Yeah.
Now other teams are starting to
And-
screwed, so we went to 12.
Yeah. And
Are
There's just
other
too
te-
many college-
When you go to 12, are other teams going to be like, oh, we're getting screwed, we're not
Yeah,
getting
but
12
here's-
to
There's
the
too
playoffs?
many Division 1 schools
Yeah.
to only have 4 teams, and even 12. Like I don't know the exact ratio, but I feel like that would be very similar if the NFL, which has 32 teams, all the teams compete, and then just the best team gets the Super Bowl at the
Yeah.
end. Like they don't even play anyone. Like that's just
Well, yeah.
like that's the ratio that it
there
feels
could be
like.
so much bias in whatever committee decides.
yeah,
that.
and also like I know like the committee like they're trying to make the best decision. And honestly, I think this year, which is kind of crazy to say it with all this controversy, I think they did make the right
Well,
decision.
yeah, when you
in
have
the
to
end.
make that decision
Yeah.
overnight after
Yeah.
all that chaos happened
Yeah.
on that Saturday, like
I agree. I think they made the right decision, but and obviously their jobs are ridiculously hard. But so, I think something that's true is the fact that like I think this 12-team playoff is a great thing, but like I was saying, I think the truth that people are going to start to realize is that bringing this 12-team playoff is great. Like people are going to have more of a chance to get a big upset here and there. But I think people are also going to realize those top teams are so much better than those 10th, 11th, 12th ranked team. It's going to get to the point where people are like, why is this even a thing? Like, why do they even have a chance? Because it's like these teams are just so dominant. The top teams are so dominant.
But having that 12-team playoff will eliminate this stupid
Yes.
4-week period between
I agree. Yeah.
the now and
crazy.
I,
Just
I
way too
hate
long.
that. I think that's stupid.
Yeah, and also I feel like they're trying to like almost build hype over 4 weeks. Like, oh, the national championship's coming up. If anything, I'm gonna be honest. For me, I don't know how you guys feel.
honestly
about it. It
loses
honestly
a little
loses
bit,
the
yeah.
hype because I feel like it'd be more hype. It was like, oh, there's 1 week off and then it's national.
'Cause you're so
championship.
People are
excited-
transitioning to watching basketball.
Yeah,
People,
yep.
you know, like
NBA
watching
in-season
NBA
tournament.
Yep.
and,
and
this
college
one on.
basketball.
Yep.
People are you're gonna lose interest.
Yeah,
so,
for
but
sure.
obviously it still puts up insane numbers.
Yeah,
but-
obviously it still puts up huge numbers because it is the national championship. But at the same time, I think even just having a week break and putting it on is going to be better for the sport, or just having that playoff come up to the national championship. It just builds hype throughout the playoffs. Like, oh, this team got an upset. Now we get to watch this team play this team that we didn't think was going to be here. That's the type of things that make people want to watch college football and tune in that they've never watched before.
And the 4-week period can hurt a team or it can make a team better.
Yeah, for sure.
And the thing is, what's scary about Nick Saban is he knows how to get a team prepared during
Yeah.
that 4-week
a
period.
lot better than
Yeah,
what
like-
they were.
Exactly. And like other teams, like I play football. If I were to take 4 weeks of just practice, like no games, and I'm sure they do like scrimmaging
Yeah.
themselves, but like no games, like that'd be like me. Like I haven't played football since we lost in semifinals.
Yeah.
So that's I don't know 4 weeks from now.
Yeah.
If I were to play a football game right now, like it's just so
It's- yeah,
different.
yeah, it's so
and
different.
so that
It's- you gotta-
4-week
it's that
period
rust.
is kind of goofy because yeah, it can give a team an advantage. It can also hurt a team, but
Yeah. It's all about
just-
how your coach is able to use that 4-week period. If you
Yeah.
use it well, you can turn a team around so easily and make them a threat in the playoffs. But if you don't use it well, you can take a team that had so much confidence coming off of great wins, like having a bunch of momentum, and then 4 weeks, it's shot. It's gone. Like, you just practice. The players didn't enjoy it because they were just grinding in practice. No games were played. There was no reward for winning. No, it's just like 4 weeks of just like, let's work out and hopefully we'll be ready for the national championship. There's two very different things, and it's all about the coach in that 4 weeks and just making sure the coach is pushing the players to the limits before and like make him really want that national championship, which is hard to stay. I mean, like I was saying about how we're losing interest. I mean, obviously, yes, the players are there because they want that national championship, but like you're telling me with a straight face that over 4 weeks they're not gonna for a few minutes be like, dude, can we just play this game? Like, we're ready. Let's go play.
Mm-hmm. And like that 4 week period, Michigan has been in the past 2 years. Lost to Georgia the first year, and then lost to TCU last year. Like, something always seems different about them.
Totally.
Like, they look like a different team when they come out after that 4 week period, and they look worse.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping this year, as a Michigan fan, they can figure it out.
Yeah,
But
I honestly hope
I have a lot of faith in
I
their
think the
quarterback,
playoffs
JJ.
are going to be good. I don't think the Georgia TCU game will happen again. I think it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Georgia TCU will be a repeat. I think this national championship will be good no matter what happens. I think they put teams in there that'll hopefully make it competitive. I do want to see Michigan win because, as a Matthew,
They've been in the
friend of
playoffs
Matthew,
for
I
the
want them
past
to win.
3 years,
Yeah.
and have they even made it to the final?
No.
They've lost in the first round every year.
Yeah, so I think it's their time. Honestly, that's my hot take. I think they're winning. I mean, it's not even a hot take. They're number one seed. But then again, they're playing Alabama. So are you really ever the number one seed?
The
when you're
winner
playing
of
Alabama?
Michigan Alabama is winning the whole thing.
I agree.
But Michigan doesn't have to play like a super dominant program because Georgia's not as dominant as they have been.
Yeah.
They're still a good team, but they're not even in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Washington has had a couple of close calls.
Yep.
And they
And
they
calls
played
with
Oregon.
Yeah,
Oregon's a good team.
Oregon's a good team.
Oregon, their
props to
only
Washington.
losses were to Washington.
Yep.
That's the only time Oregon lost all season.
They're
Twice
both
to
very
Washington.
close games.
Yeah.
So, we'll see because I hope Michigan,
Pulls it together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see though.
Well,
4 weeks
I'm
can change
excited
the
for it,
team.
though.
yeah, it's going to be great, and I think you guys will definitely, obviously, be tuned in for that. We got a while to come up to it, so I'm sure we'll mention it again before it happens. I'm sure more information will come out about something, some other controversy with it, like what's happening. You'll probably hear more about it. But thank you guys so much for watching episode 1 of the podcast. If you made it all this way, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do all the stuff on the podcast accounts. You can go check out our Instagram. I'll leave all the stuff in the description and on the screen. Go check us out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Nice job, boys. Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.